Welcome to another World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic Guide, where we will discuss Enhancement Shamans. This guide is tailored for PvE gameplay, and it will provide you with the necessary tools on how to excel when playing as an Enhancement Shaman. Show your support by liking and subscribing to my channel, and if you don't, that's okay, you are awesome anyways. Is Enhancement Shaman a viable option in Cataclysm Classic? Well, I can answer this question by talking about our strengths and weaknesses. Our strengths are highlighted with our outstanding area damage through improved Lava Lash and Fire Nova, our great mobility thanks to Ancestral Swiftness, and enhanced durability with Shamanistic Rage. Our strong support because of our Shaman Totems, like Wind Fury Totem, along with Bloodlust or Heroism, which makes us a sought-after class in raids. Our weaknesses, few as they are, make other players question if our strengths overweigh them. As we are considered to be below average to low damage dealers against single targets, we lack the unique utilities found in Resto and Elemental Shamans. And finally, we need to utilize entirely different gear compared to Restoration or Elemental off-specs. Choosing a race to play in World of Warcraft is a personal preference, but these races excel more when played as Enhancement Shamans. Orcs remain the top choice for Horde players because of their Axe specialization and Blood Fury, which provide additional burst damage. While Draenei for Alliance players are typically considered superior because of their free hit from Heroic Presence and the healing provided by Gift of the Naaru Racial, what are the best professions we can pick as Enhancement Shamans? Well, the answer is simply Engineering because of the increased burst damage with Synapse Springs and enhanced mobility through Nitro boosts, and Tailoring, which grants additional burst potential with Sword Guard Embroidery. Enhancement Shamans, similar to many specializations from Cataclysm, are primarily limited to the Enhancement Specialization tree. It is essential to invest points in this tree as a top priority, and any additional points you have remaining after acquiring the Feral Spirit should be allocated to passive damage boosts within the Elemental tree. We will allocate the 31 points in the Enhancement tree in the following manner: 2 in Elemental Weapons, 3 in Focused Strikes, 2 in Improved Shields, 3 in Elemental Devastation, 3 in Flurry, 2 in Ancestral Swiftness, 1 in Storm Strike, 3 in Static Shock, 3 in Searing Flames, 1 in Shamanistic Rage, 3 in Unleashed Rage, 3 in Maelstrom Weapon, 2 in Improved Lava Lash, and finally 1 in Feral Spirit. As for the remaining 10 points, we will add it to the Elemental tree as shown: 3 in Acuity, 2 in Concussion, 3 in Call of Flame, and finally 2 in Elemental Precision. This is how our talent tree should look like once we are done. In this part, I will discuss several essential talents that we will utilize while playing as an Enhancement Shaman. It's important to grasp your key talents as they are crucial for maximizing the effectiveness of our talent build. Ancestral Swiftness. This transforms our Ghost Wolf into an instant cast ability and provides us with a 15% increased movement speed, significantly enhancing our mobility. Storm Strike, which hits with both weapons and applies a debuff to the target, raising our critical strike chance against it. Static Shock enables our special moves, like Storm Strike as an example, to trigger Lightning Shield for additional damage. Searing Flames, making our Searing Totem a crucial element of our DPS rotation by applying a damage over time effect on the target, empowering our Lava Lash damage. Elemental Devastation also enhances our melee critical strike chance by 9% following a spell critical strike. Shamanistic Rage, which serves as our primary defensive skill, reducing all incoming damage by 30% for 15 seconds. Additionally, Shamanistic Rage eliminates all mana cost for its duration. This spell has a mere 1-minute cooldown. Unleashed Rage acts as our key raid buff, boosting melee attack power by 20% and ranged attack power by 10% for all party or raid members, while increasing our expertise by 8. Improved Lava Lash, which significantly increases the damage of our Lava Lash on targets affected by our Searing Flames debuff. This ability also spreads our Flame Shock debuffs, enabling considerable damage through Fire Nova. Maelstrom Weapon, which enables our melee attacks to accumulate the Maelstrom Weapon buff, resulting in our spells becoming cheaper and faster to cast. And finally, Feral Spirit functions as our primary DPS cooldown, summoning a pair of wolves that deal significant damage for 30 seconds. These wolves provide additional utilities, stuns, free healing, and a sprint ability that grants us immunity to movement impairing effects. Prime Glyphs are a recent addition in Cataclysm, providing a third row of glyphs available for our character. Although there are various options to select from, certain ones clearly stand out as the best choices for each specialization. For our prime glyphs, we will select Glyph of Lava Lash to enhance the damage of our Lava Lash ability, Glyph of Storm Strike to amplify the critical strike bonus of our Storm Strike skill, Glyph of Feral Spirit to improve the damage of our Feral Spirit Guardians. Major glyphs usually provide utility-focused choices and can be quite situational. Although there are numerous options available for enhancement, here are the most valuable ones. Glyph of Lightning Shield ensures that Lightning Shield never drops below 3 charges, making it a highly effective glyph for leveling. Glyph of Chain Lightning enhances the number of targets affected by Chain Lightning by 2, while reducing the damage taken by the primary target, representing a valuable trade-off when facing large groups of foes. Glyph of Fire Nova expands the radius of Fire Nova, increasing the chances of hitting all other enemies in the pack we are battling against. Our last section to cover is minor glyphs. Minor glyphs usually offer only slight advantages. Our selections generally hinge on which quality of life improvement holds the most significance for us. Glyph of Water Walking enables us to use water walking without needing a reagent. Glyph of Renewed Life eliminates the reagent requirement for reincarnation. Glyph of Astral Recall reduces the cooldown of our Astral Recall, allowing us to travel more often. For our single target rotation, we must ensure that our buff totems are active and within range of party members consistently. We need to apply the Wind Fury Weapon Imbue to our main hand weapon and use Flame Tongue Weapon on our offhand weapon while keeping Lightning Shield buffed on ourselves. Then we will follow this priority, apply and maintain the Flame Shock debuff, keep Searing Totem active and firing, cast Storm Strike whenever it is off cooldown, use Lava Lash as soon as it is off cooldown, cast Lightning Bolt when you have 3 or more stacks of Maelstrom Weapon, ensuring that you complete the cast before your next auto attack. Use Unleash Elements whenever it is off cooldown. And finally, we should use Earth Shock if there are no other abilities available. For our AoE rotation and when we are up against multiple foes, we should adhere to the single target rotation, but replace Lightning Bolt with Chain Lightning when facing 2 enemies. If confronted with 3 or more enemies, we must utilize Fire Nova on cooldown after applying Flame Shock to 3 or more targets thanks to the improved Lava Lash spreading mechanic. Lastly, when battling 5 or more enemies for an extended duration, prepare to swap to Glyph of Chain Lightning in advance to optimize damage. Now our cooldowns. First, we have Feral Spirit, serving as our primary DPS cooldown and should be deployed whenever it can strike targets for its full duration. Additionally, try to coordinate it with temporary enhancements from Trinket Procs, Bloodlust or Heroism, and the Potion of the Tolliver. Next up, we have Fire Elemental Totem, which is not particularly effective for enhancement because Searing Totem provides a significant damage increase through the Searing Flames and improved Lava Lash talents, so it will primarily be utilized in situations requiring area damage. Third cooldown is Shamanistic Rage, which functions as both our key defense mechanism and a means for mana management. Given its brief 1-minute cooldown, we can generally use it as it becomes available, but it's important to postpone its activation when high raid damage mechanics are anticipated. We should not forget to utilize our utility skills as well. These spells are Bloodlust or Heroism that provide a significant temporary increase in haste for the party or raid, Earthbind Totem, which aids in slowing down nearby enemies, making kiting easier, Wind Shear, which can be used to disrupt important spellcasting, and our Maelstrom weapon stacks, which can be utilized for healing spells such as Healing Rain when needed. This part will outline the essential skills for an Enhancement Shaman and describe their functions. We will start by discussing the new abilities for Enhancement Shamans in Cataclysm Classic, starting with Unleash Elements, which produces various effects based on the imbues of your active weapon, such as Unleash Wind corresponds to Wind Fury weapon, Unleash Flame aligns with Flame Tongue weapon, Unleash Life is linked to Earth Living weapon, Unleash Frost applies to Frostbrand weapon, Unleash Earth is associated with Rockbiter weapon, and lastly, when dual wielding, you can trigger 2 effects with each cast rather than just 1. Healing Rain, which is an AoE healing spell that can be deployed on the ground for a duration of 10 seconds. Although it provides substantial healing, it necessitates that 6 wounded players remain within its bounds for the entire time, which makes it more situational compared to other AoE healing abilities. Spirit Walker's Grace, which enables us to cast spells while on the move for a duration of 15 seconds. The Elemental Resistance Totem, which provides additional spell resistance against all elemental enemy types. Bind Elemental, which is effective for controlling groups of elemental foes. Ancestral Vision, which allows us to bring all nearby allies back to life with one spell. Primal Strike, which is utilized in the early game for additional melee damage. Greater Healing Wave, which provides a powerful heal to a single target. It can easily result in overhealing, so be cautious and consider halting the casting if necessary. It also pairs well with Maelstrom Weapon. Lastly, we have our Healing Surge, which has a quick cast time and offers good healing, but it consumes a significant amount of mana, so reserve it for emergency situations only. Now for our damage abilities. Dual Wield enables us to wield two weapons simultaneously, significantly boosting our DPS capabilities through auto attacks and increasing Maelstrom weapon procs. Feral Spirit serves as a potent cooldown that summons wolves to chase and stun foes, healing us and themselves with their strikes, and granting the use of Spirit Walk for enhanced movement speed and breaking roots. Flame Shock inflicts damage over time on its target, and it also prevents rogues and druids from entering stealth while it remains active. Fire Nova makes our Flame Shock afflicted targets explode, dealing damage in the surrounding area. With just a brief 4 seconds cooldown, it can inflict substantial area damage once multiple Flame Shocks are applied thanks to the improved Lava Lash talent. Lava Lash inflicts considerable damage, especially when enhanced by the improved Lava Lash talent. Storm Strike delivers significant damage and boosts our chances of landing critical hits with spells on the target for a duration of 15 seconds. Lightning Bolt inflicts damage on a single target from a distance. We will frequently cast this spell using Maelstrom Weapon, which speeds up the casting time and allows our swing timer to remain active if we complete the cast before our next attack. Chain Lightning is akin to Lightning Bolt, utilizing Maelstrom Weapon stacks. Earth Shock deals damage while reducing the melee attack speed of its target. This can be valuable for its damage, which benefits from the Storm Strike debuff, especially against melee opponents when avoiding their attacks isn't possible. Frost Shock inflicts damage and reduces its target's speed by 50% for 8 seconds, making it handy for pursuing or escaping from adversaries. Lava Burst is a strong option for caster shamans, but its utility for us is limited, making it applicable only in specific scenarios. Our healing spells consists of Healing Wave, which serves as a reliable yet gradual single target heal, making it suitable for addressing minor damage during periods of inactivity. Chain Heal, which stands out as one of the top area of effect healing abilities in the game, thanks to its substantial healing output, absence of cooldown, and intelligent healing mechanics that prioritize the most wounded targets within its range, regardless of their group affiliations. Given its lengthy casting time, it is advisable to utilize it in conjunction with Maelstrom Weapon when necessary. Now let us talk about our totems. When we cast a totem, it is immediately summoned to the ground nearby and remains stationary, typically possessing a small amount of health that can be eliminated by any single target attack from our foes. The effects of the totem are exclusive to our 5-player party, even if we are part of a larger raid group. Each totem serves a particular purpose and possesses a unique ability. We have 4 kinds of totems: air, earth, water, and fire, and we can only have one totem from each element active at any given moment, which will be swapped out if we summon another totem of the same type. Call of the Elements, Call of the Ancestors, and Call of the Spirits enable us to pre-select one totem of each type to be automatically placed when these abilities are activated, significantly reducing time spent. Totemic Recall allows us to dismantle our existing totems to regain 25% of their mana. This can be useful to prevent triggering patrols with our totems, recover some mana while relocating, or simply to regain mana at no cost when our totems are nearing their expiration. Let us discuss our stat priority, starting with Agility, because it boosts our damage output. We will inherently acquire more agility as we surround ourselves with gear of higher item level, and this stat will also be amplified by raid buffs like Blessing of Kings. At level 85, 1 agility equals 2 attack power before multipliers. Next we have Hit Rating, which is considered as our top secondary stat until we reach the spell hit cap of 17%. Reaching the spell hit cap is crucial since we deal a significant portion of its damage through spell sources like Maelstrom Weapon, Lightning Shield, and Shocks. Additionally, our Enhanced Elements exclusively influences our spell damage, which scales more effectively with our gear. At level 85, 120.1 hit rating equals 1% hit chance. After hit rating, we will go for expertise rating, which lowers the likelihood that the target will evade or block our attacks. This boosts our damage output and minimizes burst damage received from enemy parry hasting. Reaching 26 expertise is sufficient to eliminate the dodge chance of most foes, lowering it from 6.5% to 0. Rendering expertise is predominantly beneficial only against parries beyond that level, thus providing minimal value in group scenarios. Moving on to Mastery. Mastery is a new stat added in Cataclysm. Mastery amplifies our enhanced elements, making it a straightforward yet effective elemental damage boost. This is a good DPS stat because a large portion of our damage comes from elemental damage sources like spells and shocks produced by Maelstrom weapons. However, the difference between the Mastery DPS score and the other stats is negligible because all our secondary stats are so close to one another. At level 85, 180 Mastery rating equals 1 Mastery, which equals 2.5% more elemental damage. Next up is Critical Strike rating. Critical Strike rating works well with Flurry and Elemental Devastation. Critical Strike is a powerful tool for us. However, it is not the ideal stat because it requires a lot of rating to reach 1% crit, which makes stacking it inefficient. At level 85, 179.28 crit rating equals 1% crit. The next stat that we need is haste rating. Because we have several skills that grant large haste such as Flurry and Maelstrom weapon, haste should be the least favorite secondary stat we will stack. On the plus side, getting 1% haste requires little rating, so it's respectable all around. At level 85, 128 haste rating equals 1% haste. Our final stat is melee hit cap at 27%. Our offhand weapon will always hit if we have a 27% hit rate. However, this is a negligible damage boost when compared to stacking any other stat. Therefore, simply remember that hit still has some worth even after the 17% spell hit cap. Enchants significantly affect our performance, particularly while performing challenging tasks such as heroic raiding. This section will list the best enchantments for each slot of our gear, starting with Arcanum of the Ramkahen for our head slot, Greater Inscription of Shattered Crystal for our shoulders, Sword Guard Embroidery or Enchant Cloak of Major Agility for our back, Enchant Chest of Peerless Stats for our chest, Enchant Bracer of Agility for our bracers, Enchant Gloves of Greater Mastery for our gloves, Dragon Scale Leg Armor for our legs, Enchant Boots of Major Agility for our boots, and finally, Enchant Weapon of Landslide for our main hand weapon and offhand weapon. For our gems, our choices are Agile Shadow Spirit Diamond as a meta gem, as it boosts the damage from critical strikes by 3% and grants a significant amount of agility. Delicate Inferno Ruby should be always used for the red slot gem. Glinting Demon's Eye should be used if the socket bonus is 10 or more agility. Otherwise, we will use the Delicate Inferno Ruby. And finally, Adept Ember Topaz should be used if the socket bonus is 10 or more agility. Otherwise, we will use the Delicate Inferno Ruby. The last topic to cover in this guide is Consumables. Consumables consist of food, flasks, and potions. The objective of the food boost is to maximize our agility, and we can get this boost from one of these 3 choices, all of which provide 90 agility. Skewered Eel, or Fortune Cookie, or Seafood Magnifique Feast. For our choice of flasks, we will use Flask of the Winds. As for combat potion, we will use the Potion of the Tolvir along with our cooldowns and just before pulling the raid or dungeon boss. Lastly, we have the Mythical Healing Potion, which should be used only in emergency situation for a quick self-heal. This concludes the Enhancement Shaman guide. Subscribe if you found it helpful, show your support by liking this video, and finally leave a comment on what you'd like me to work on next. Until next time, see ya.